Deprivation of personal liberty through detention beyond the 48-hour deadline as required by law is still topping human rights complaints, according to the latest Uganda Human Rights Commission report on the state of human rights and freedoms in Uganda. 52% of the cases filed at the Rights Commission Tribunal relate to abuse of the right to personal liberty, with 133 complainants seeking redress over illegal detention. While launching the report in Kampala, Kamadi Byonabye, the Director Research, Education and Documentation at the Human Rights Commission, noted that observance of human rights for all will take a concerted and relentless effort from all people.
Human rights is not a one-man's business, protection and promotion. The Commission is simply a secretariat that happens to coordinate the protection and promotion of human rights in Uganda. And the onus is on Parliament to do its oversight role as usual, to bring to task the relevant MDAs to whom recommendations have been made.
According to the latest report, Uganda Police Force has most complaints filed against it, followed by private individuals, the army and Uganda prisons. Simon Peter Okoshi, the Deputy Director of Operations at the Uganda Police Force, explains some of the circumstances under which anyone can be held beyond the recommended 48 hours.
Violence during election, I happened to be at the center of the operations with my boss, Afande Frank Mwesigwa. We restrained ourselves as much as we could, and I was hearing a feedback that the election was boring. So people deliberately started provoking security. And indeed, we restrained ourselves as much as we could. So the few cases of violence were isolated. It was not the norm. It was isolated. I was lucky to be delegated by the Inspector General of Police to meet a team of African Union election observers. They also said the same thing, that initially the election was appearing to be boring. So people wanted to put some vibe in it. But the vibe was not the normal vibe. Confronting armed security personnel is like committing suicide. If you remember a clip where a military officer was being confronted by a panga-wielding man in Kasese, he had to be shot at point blank. You know, sometimes you take the risk. We don't carry the gun for fun. There are circumstances whereby the law allows us to use it. I always tell police officers that when you reach a certain level whereby your life is threatened, the law will be on your side. At least disable the person. We don't intend to kill. Our role is to protect life and property. But there are circumstances where you are confronting an unarmed robber with an AK-47 and you want to disable. Instead, he will kill you.
He has meanwhile opted not to comment about what befalls those whom rights defenders have called political prisoners.
I think I don't want to talk much on that.
The January 2026 elections kicked off relatively peaceful but turned violent in the long run, and the Rights Commission has blamed security forces for the excessive force used during the process. Okashi says it was inevitable.
There's a famous name called Okello, who went to a kindergarten and managed to slaughter 4 innocent kids. And if you insist on the 48-hour rule, Okello would be on the streets killing other children. So that example alone should suffice. There are circumstances as grave as that, whereby we may not necessarily strictly follow the 48-hour rule. Murder, defilement, aggravated robbery, not that they don't deserve, but the circumstances may not really allow.
Early this month, High Court in Kampala ordered government to pay 3 environment activists 10 million shillings over detention beyond 48 hours. Rights defenders have often reiterated the appeal to security forces to honor the 48 detention deadline, but with over 50 districts in Uganda lacking the office of the Director of Public Prosecutions and without a witness protection law, this call for action is still an uphill struggle for victims and stakeholders. Juliet Nadwoga, NTV.